How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to MSP Clarksville. My name is Brady McAtamney, your host, as always, the sports editor at Main Street Clarksville, and of course with Main Street Preps as well. Fun show lined up for you today as we bring in one of my personal favorite interviews and a guy who's turned into a friend of mine as well. His name is Scotty Walden. He is the head football coach at Austin Peay. The Governors coming off a strong season where they just barely missed out on the FCS playoffs. A lot of exciting things happening with the Govs this year and in the future. Scotty, how are we doing today?
Brady, I'm doing great, man. We've leveled up here, man. You and me used to do a couple interviews in the parking lot, and now look at us now, man. Look at this. This is awesome. Good for you, brother.
Man. Parking lot, practice field, and yeah, here we are now on the screen. So, how you doing right now, man? It's I know it's probably been a busy summer for you. I know you kind of heard that you kind of had a little bit of vacation time last week. I'm sure that was nice.
Yeah, huge, man. I'm doing great. I appreciate you asking. June's pretty hectic as it is for everybody in college football. You're just literally every single day, going to different camps, recruiting, having your own camps. We had our first mega camp here at Austin Peay State University history. That was awesome. In early June, we had, nearly 500 kids show up and they were really quality players. And so that, along with, our own players reporting, obviously, they reported, June the 1st and getting those guys acclimated and, got a bunch of new freshmen transfers and, doing OTAs with them. And so June is a hectic month for not only us, but everybody in college football. And, it was really good to get our coaches a break there at the end. And, they've got some good time off and now we're back and ready to get back in the full swing of things. Our players got back, gave them off for July 4th. And so we've been, we've been steady grinding over here at Forterra Stadium. So really excited. It's a exciting time of year. Excited to see what the season holds for us.
I'd expect nothing less than a full grind at Forterra Stadium. So you mentioned that mega camp. That's something that we actually talked about 2 or so months ago. That's something that you guys were getting ready to host. Tell me how that went.
It was phenomenal. I first I'll just give a credit to our staff and just our administration for putting that out. We wanted to do it last year. But we were, in the process of getting our turf field done. And so now that we've got the turf field done, we feel like we've got the space available with that, our indoor facility and, our soccer coach, Coach Kim, she was, gracious enough to let us use the soccer field if we had overflow. So, we've got the space for it and we wanted to do it. And I've been in talks with several coaches in the area and, they were all about it. They thought it would be a great thing. And man, it didn't disappoint. We did a session in the morning, just O-line, D-line only, and specialists, so we could really concentrate on them. Man, just in that session alone, we probably had 130 kids in that alone. That's no skill players. And then we had 2 other sessions, later that day that included all the quarterbacks, running backs, linebackers, receivers, DBs, and watching those guys compete. And I think it was perfect timing. We got a new scoreboard, a new video board put up at Forterra Stadium that we're really excited about. I think it's awesome. And so it kind of timed up good. We were able to kind of throw some graphics up there while the camp was going on, and it just worked out really well. And especially for our first time doing it, and we're kind of unique way we do camps. You've probably seen us advertising. We don't really do the combine stuff. It's just the kids are getting a lot of reps, and so I think they appreciate coming out and getting evaluated, but also getting better because that was always something. When I was growing up in the business, I always thought was important with recruiting camps is I want those guys to take something with them back to the high schools they play at. We forget about that part of it too. These kids are getting better too. And so when they come to our camp, we want them to take something. And I thought they really did that. And it was a massive success. We learned some things and we're going to build on it for next year, make it even bigger and better.
Yeah, I was actually just going to say one thing that makes your camp special, no 40s, no verts, none of the stuff that, make for, fun little highlights or little blurbs on Twitter. Just, it's straight up reps. How do you think that those guys took that, they come here to play football and not, run drills and stuff like that?
Man, it's been a selling point, and I know, some of the, with the mega camp, you got coaches from other schools coming. And I know, to be honest, some guys, some coaches are like, oh, coach, I love this. No testing, nothing. Some guys, their head coach wants, hey, you go to that camp, you got to come back with a 40 time and this, that. And we give those, we give those coaches the freedom. Hey, if you want to run a kid on the 40 on the side or pro agility because your head coach needs that time, we understand that. Every program is different, their evaluation process. But I think it's a selling point. I think the kids absolutely love it because literally it is, and it helps me as an evaluator because I don't just see a kid go 1 or 2 reps. I literally get to watch him compete from when he's fresh to when he's tired and exhausted. Because our camps, I kind of judge it, and when we do one-on-ones, I judge it by, it's if the kids are starting to drag and they're tired, all right, coach, we're about wrapped up, then we'll call it. But if kids are competing, having fun, and they're getting reps, we just keep it going. And man, I mean, we were here till, I don't know, that last camp we made about wrapped up at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, we were under the lights. Those kids, they probably could have gone till midnight. It was fun to watch them. And so I think it's a selling point, because a kid that normally would go to a mega camp that might be a little undersized, he may not have all the parameters that maybe a college is looking for. They can flash at our camp, but because of the fact that they're going to get so many reps. And so all of a sudden we see a kid, oh, good rep, another good rep, another good rep. Then all of a sudden we watch him and he's on rep 15, and it's like, man, this kid is still going against the best players at this camp, and he's still dominating, man. Like, we need to really look at this cat. It helps us so much in the evaluation process. So I think kids feel like they get their money's worth. Parents feel like they get their money's worth, and they get evaluated and they get better.
Yeah, and then when you got these kids at your camp, you're seeing them play on your field, probably wearing your colors, I would guess. Do some of these guys that you see out there competing and playing well leave with some offers?
Oh, 100%. 100%. We actually did something cool this year. I got good feedback on it. I thought it was pretty sweet. It's like when we would at all of our camps, but especially the mega camp, because there was so many good players. If we offered a kid, or if another staff offered a kid, and we knew about it, we'd shut down the whole camp. We did an offer alert on the big scoreboard, on our new scoreboard. It flashed red, and this horn went off, and so the camp would stop, and all the kids are like, "What's going on?" And then it'd be offer alert, offer alert. We can't say who got offered or all that stuff, but the kids know, oh man, there was one session. It was the last session of the night, man. Literally in the first one-on-one session, it was probably 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And man, we had 6 to 7 offers go out in one-on-one session, and it was a new record, and the kids went crazy, man. And and it was cool. And then some of the kids, they saw who got offered, so they went over to the kid and congratulated him, and it was awesome. It was so good. But yeah, we convene at the end as a coaching staff, and we make decisions on kids. A lot of those kids that we've kind of prepped, we've watched their film, we know their background, and then we just had to confirm some things at camp. And then once we confirm those things, we'll throw an offer out there to a young man that we feel like is deserving.
That's pretty cool. The offer alert. I love that. Maybe next year, you do a bachelor style, hand out roses or something.
Ooh, see, that's why you make the big bucks, man. There it is, right there.
Exactly, man. That's what I'm here for. I'm full of these good ideas. Now, summer, of course, great for recruiting, but you've got a lot of guys on the team already that I know you really love. And as summer practices, I'm sure you've seen a lot of good stuff. Now, who are some guys that might be new to Govs fans that you've seen and think are going to be getting some valuable playing time?
Yeah, I mean, it's been Brady. I'm so excited about our team, man. I don't know if I've ever been more excited about a team, just because these guys they have such a camaraderie and a love for the game. They want to get better. They want to be pushed. There's nobody in that locker room that doesn't love ball and doesn't want to be the best, and they care. I mean, if we come out and we have a bad early morning run session, we do a team run every morning at 8 a.m. And if it's bad, I mean, they care, and that's the thing that I'm just so excited about this team. And of course, Ghost fans are going to remember some returners. It's kind of unique this year. Last year we only returned 2 starters on offense, and this year we returned 9 starters on offense. And so all 5 offensive linemen are back. Which I think is key. I know everybody obviously knows Mike DeLello, our quarterback, being back is huge. Anytime that you can have a returning starting quarterback, especially one as quality as Mike DeLello, and as great a leader as he is, I just think you have a chance to win. And he's the toughest quarterback I've ever coached and the best leader I've ever coached. I mean, that hands down. And I'm so blessed that he's a part of this program, and I'm excited for him to have a huge year. He's gotten a lot better throwing the ball. He's gotten a lot better at commanding the offense and, understanding what we're wanting. And he and I working together for another year. We didn't get him until June last year. That's what I think people forget. He didn't get in until probably June 15th last year. So, he became the starting quarterback in about 2 months. Now we've had him a whole calendar year. And he's one of the sharpest guys I've ever been around. He could definitely be a coach if he wanted to be. So it's exciting to have him. But having the 5 O linemen back, that's the key, man. I mean, that's huge. Isaiah Wright at left tackle, Harry Wilkes at left guard, Jalen Armstrong at center, Chandler Curtin at right guard, and then our right tackle, Brendan Smith. Those five have just been key forces. You're talking about a 5 lineman that didn't give up a sack to Alabama. I mean, these guys are primetime players. They're hard-nosed. I'm really excited about that group. And then you got Javon Jackson, C.J. Evans in the backfield. That's a dynamic duo. Along with that receiver, Trey Goodman. Trey Goodman and Trey Shackelford, Cam Thomas. What I'm seeing, Brady, now, it's kind of cool. There's a lot of third-year players for us that we recruited in that first class that are now blossoming and I think are poised for big years. And then, you go over to the defensive side of the ball. You've got your staples like Javon Young, Sam Howard, Day Doss, Brody Williams. You've got a core, Doc Rogan, who's just been a staple here, for years. A lot of people I know, we did lose. I mean, we had 8 guys that transferred from this team last year that went, to the FBS level. 5 of those 8. There's actually a stat that came out the other day that I think we had the 3rd most in the country of players that left our program to go FBS or Power 5. So 5 out of those 8 players that left our program to go FBS are at Power 5 programs now. And I'm not saying that in a bragging way. I'm just saying, like, that's how, we lost some quality players. We lost some really good players. That's kind of, this day and age of college football a little bit that we're battling. We're not ever going to wave the white flag and just say that's the way it's going to be. But that happened to us. That's a reality. It happened to us last year, and we're finding ways to combat that. And but I will say, I think that our staff did an amazing job going out and recruiting and replacing. We can't sit here and complain about those things, because everybody's going through it. And so you look at another program and you'll see a number of guys getting taken to another level, and you just gotta have guys in your back pocket to always be recruiting, and I think we address those needs. And so you've got those staple guys and some names that I'll give you that have come in that I think Ghost fans just need to be alert to that maybe new is Mike Rutland from Princeton. He's a Mount Juliet product, playing safety for us, was an all-conference safety there at Princeton. Is showing unbelievable just IQ and ability. Been really impressed with Benji Johnson from the University of New Mexico. Came in. He's originally from Hooks, Texas, and East Texas. Kind of went back to our Texas roots there, and grabbed him up out of the portal. A long, rangy safety that I think is really doing a great job. Javion McCrae's coming off injury. He was our D lineman for us last year from East Carolina. That had a season-ending injury last year, but he was poised to be one of our best defensive linemen last year. So I think he's a force. A young man named Travis Bates, a young man that we signed last year, coming off an injury. Another young man at D-line really had a great spring. We signed a young man named Tyler Long out of Norfolk State. I know he's been getting a lot of attention. Losing production like Josh Rudolph and Antoine Williams, bringing in a guy like Tyler. He had over 100 tackles at Norfolk State, one of the leading tacklers in the country. Probably one of the most highly recruited guys out of the portal. We're able to get him to Clarksville, and I'm really excited about him. And then you've got other guys in the secondary that I think have a shot that have come in and are going to have a shot. And then our signing class on offense, Brennan Hawkins from Kansas State, Hatib Lyles from North Texas. Those 2 receivers have come in and done a great job. Marquez Taylor, local product, out of McKenzie. Cortland Simmons, Davidson Academy. Malachi Dow from over there from Sparta. Those 3 guys, unbelievable players as freshmen. I'm really excited to get them in some pads and see what they can do. A young man named Ty Williams from Greenville out in East Tennessee has really come on at O-line. Leo Gonzalez from Lenore City was a mid-year enrollee. So the list kind of goes on. I really feel strong about this recruiting class we brought in, transfers and high school guys included. It's a really exciting time to get to roll those guys out and for Governor fans to get to lay their eyes on those guys because they're going to be staples for what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. The big thing, in my opinion, is bringing back that entire offensive line. I know a lot of people, they'll see the quarterback coming back, and for good reason. I mean, Mike DeLillo's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in FCS this year if he is able to, kind of build on what he did last year. But having just that continuity with the offensive line, that camaraderie that those 5 guys have, like you said, they didn't allow a sack to Alabama. They went against number 2 overall pick Will Anderson, not allowing a sack there. That's pretty impressive stuff. And, of course, like you said, losing a lot of guys to transfer. It's funny to almost call it a risk to bring in great players, right? Because you might lose a Dre McCray to Texas Tech or a D Ford to Arizona State, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast, like you said, bringing in some of those great players. But kind of the ironic part is those guys going FBS, and now maybe Austin Peay goes FBS in the next couple of years. What's been kind of the movement there, and what's kind of been something that you may have seen there, or have you just kind of been focused on ball at this point?
It's an interesting dynamic, Brady. With those guys, you said it. You don't risk bringing in great players. I'd rather have great players than not have great players. So if I have them a year or 2 years, hey, I'd rather have them for 2 years than no years.
Yeah.
So and not that our goal when we recruit, we don't recruit guys for 2 years. We recruit them for 4 years, and that's our plan. And I'm not by any means waving the white flag, but I do understand. I'm a realist, and I understand that if we recruit, because what's happening is everybody's going in the portal, and my philosophy. I'm high school first, and we're gonna build this thing with great high school football players from our region and from our state, and because I think that's how you build a culture. That's how you build something that's long lasting, not something that's inconsistent. I think you build consistency that way. But when you do that, you're going to obviously run the risk of bringing in a great player that, may do a great job. And then he's at a Arizona State, an Oregon, an Indiana, or a Texas Tech, but my thing is you can't play scared. You can't play fearful. And you got to go recruit the best players. We're going to recruit the best players in this state. In this past class, we signed 3 top 50 recruits in the state of Tennessee. No other FCS program has done that in their home state. That was something I thought was really special, including, a young man named Jeremiah Collins, there at Oakland, number 19 ranked player in the state of Tennessee, who he's another one I should mention, has come in and had a great summer. I think he's going to be a name to know. So my point is go recruit the best players possible. And you do everything you can to build a culture that they don't want to live without. You do everything you can to create an environment that they don't want to leave. And my thing is you even look at it with our first initial class here. We've lost some key guys out of that class, but that's the thing about football where, we still have retained probably 60 to 70% of that initial class. So like, it's not like, you're just turning over your whole classes every year. I think that's kind of a scary thing with the the recruiting high school guys. For some people, they think it's that, but that's really not reality. And I'll say this: we have been getting higher quality. I mean, we have signed 33-star recruits in our time here, and we're poised to get even more because everybody's looking in the portal. Everybody's going in the portal. So these great high school players are sitting out there, and I always believe, man, you got to go where people aren't, man. That's you gotta find an advantage. If you try to just do what the Joneses are doing, hey, man, you're just going to be like the Joneses, and we don't want to be like the Joneses. We want to be like the Austin Peays, man. And so we want to go get guys, man. So we've gotten great players out of the high school ranks here in Tennessee and Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and we're going to keep doing that. And then, like you said, that's been a huge selling point in recruiting is our launch to FBS, which is going to happen in the next few years. And I think the recruits see the facility upgrades. They see the commitment to excellence from the top down, from President LaCard to Gerald Harrison and myself. And so, like, it's an exciting time, man. We're in the hunt for some recruits that normally we wouldn't be in the hunt on. And I think it's gonna, just lead to a great thing we're building here at Austin Peay.
Yeah, I think I know catchphrases are a big thing with Scotty Walden and the Govs. I think you might have just given with another one is don't be like the Joneses, be like the Peas. I like that.
That's right, baby. Don't be like the Joneses. You got to be like the Peas, baby.
Exactly. That's good stuff right there. Now, looking up at this season coming up, it's going to be for the second straight year. It's going to be a unique one because no longer are you playing ASUN football. No longer are you playing OVC football. You're playing UAC football. Yeah. Your UAC debut is against a brand new team with Stephen F. Austin going down to Texas for that game, and then you're going to be playing Southern Utah. Utah Tech, some brand new teams who it's really like for the third straight season you're in a new conference. I mean, that's gotta be a tough adjustment for you guys. What's that been like for the coaching staff trying to get these guys ready for yet another new brand of football?
Yeah, it's I mean, it goes back to just rolling with the punches. We kind of have an anyone, anytime, anywhere mentality, and It's just like, hey, if they're going to put us in a conference and we're going to have to play in the Kroger parking lot, that's what we're going to play. I mean, it's just, just whatever, give us a schedule and we'll go play the game. That's kind of the mindset you got to have, and I think it has been volatile since I've been here. It's been crazy, being in the OVC, the ASUN, and now the UAC. I don't know, many head coaches that have taken a job and been in 3 different conferences in 3 years. It's that's kind of unique, man. But I tell you what, it's gonna help me as a head coach later in my career. It's helping us adapt. But I'll say this: I think the challenge for us, is you look at the schedule. 8 out of the 11 teams that we play this year are new teams for us that we've never played here before, at least in my tenure here. So when you look at it, there's a lot of learning. We've devoted a lot of time to studying these opponents in the offseason, through the spring and through the summer. Even just knowing the towns they're in, knowing the coordinator's background, the head coach's background, the players that they've added, the players they've lost, their past 5 seasons. Just having to do our research hard because, like I said, there's only 3 teams on that schedule that we played last year, and that's EKU, UCA, and Northern Alabama, and everybody else. That's 8 new squads, that we're having to line up against. And as you look at the schedule, there's no gimmies, man. I mean, this is by far the toughest schedule that we've had since I've been here. I think it's one of the toughest schedules in the nation. You look at the first 5 games, 4 out of those first 5 games are on the road. So we only get to play 1 game before Terrace Stadium there in the first 5 games. And I think it's absolutely, an absolutely difficult schedule. But, the beautiful thing is, kind of talking to our staff about this, one thing that we're concentrated on this year is leaving no doubt. Kind of like last year, we left it up into the committee's hands to get into the playoffs or not. And I think when you do that, especially a place like Austin Peay that maybe doesn't have as rich of history as some of these other story programs like a Montana, Delaware, things like that. And, it is what it is. I mean, that stuff's political. It is, and at the end of the day, if we leave it up to a committee, it's going to be hard, for us to get in. I think when we're at Austin, for where we're at right now, I think we've got to get that AQ. And so that means we got to win them all, again, that's not putting pressure on ourselves. That's got to be our goal, and our mindset is there's no off weeks. And so with our staff, when I was talking, when I look at the schedule, I look at it as an opportunity. It's a very demanding, tough schedule, but it's an opportunity to leave no doubt to the committee that, hey, we are a playoff team and a national contender. It's going to be it's definitely going to be a challenge being in the UAC with new teams and teams from out west. That Southern Utah trip late in the season, having to fly out there. I mean, that's difficult. You got guys in our building that have never been on a plane before. Like we're going to have to, educate them, on what it's like to fly and, get all those things, that just little things that you don't think about to the on the outside. But, we're excited for the challenge, certainly excited for the challenge. We feel like we've got a championship culture and, a championship standard, and we're excited to go put that on display in a great conference.
Yeah, I'd imagine by the time October 28th comes around and you're playing North Alabama, finally, you guys would probably just be like, oh my gosh, it's about time we see someone we know, man. It's
Right.
You finally get to go across the field and shake hands with a coach you've actually met before. That's something. Now, of course, the big game when people look at your schedule, obviously, is going to be that creamsicle tea on September 9th as you guys go to Knoxville to play Tennessee. Only a week 2 game, so it's not like last year where you're going to Alabama one of the last weeks of the season. This is like a tune-up game for you guys, and which is crazy to go to Knoxville for a quote-unquote tune-up game. But then again, last year in Alabama, I mean, I know it sounds weird to say you only lost 34-0 because usually when that happens, it's like, wow, we got our butts kicked. But no, against Alabama, they're beating FCS teams, 50-0, 60-0. Do you feel like that maybe your experience against a team like Alabama can help you as you go into Neyland?
I do. I really do. And I think that, when you look at those games, you look at those scores, if you're outside looking in, it's like 34-0. Yeah, those guys got, waxed. But I think that when you look at the game, like you did, and the people that were there, if you actually sit down and watch the game, I'd even say if you sat down and watched the game against Western Kentucky, against Ole Miss, my first year here, I think you see a team that's competitive. I know the score may not reflect it in the end, but I think we've been competitive in those big time games because we got a fearless mindset. I mean, what do we have to lose, man? We got to go in there and It's like I tell our guys every time we play a game like that, I've never prepared to lose a game in my life, and I ain't starting anytime soon. So we can play Tennessee, we can play Dallas Cowboys, we can play Georgia, we can play whoever. We're not ever going to prepare a game to lose, and that's just going to be our mindset. People are going to call us crazy, and it's funny. Coaches in the profession, you talk about, who's your money game? Oh yeah, just overlook that week. No, I mean that's not fair to the kids, man. Like I don't look at it as I know administratively they got to look at money and stuff like that, but I don't care. Like you put a game on the schedule, that's not fair to our kids. To overlook any game or to not prepare for a game or not prepare to win. These kids want a chance to win. And so we're going to give them a chance to win every single week. And I know no one in the country will, that week against Tennessee is going to, pick us to win. And that's okay. We just like last year, we were picked to finish 5th in this league. And we knew what was going on in between these walls. And that's all that matters. We really don't need anybody else's opinion and don't care. But at the end of the day, we're going to go compete. That's all I know. I don't know what's going to happen on September 9th there in Neyland Stadium, but I know that there's going to be a team on the visiting sideline that's going to compete, that's going to play hard, and is not going to back down from anybody. And then we'll roll that out there, and we'll see where those cards lay. But it's going to be a fun environment. I mean, how cool is that? Like, growing up in the state of Texas, I'd have given anything to get to play against the University of Texas. And now you got 70% of our roster, that's grown up in the state of Tennessee, and they get to go play the University of Tennessee. How cool is that? Like I got some guys already telling me, hey, I grew up dreaming about playing in Neyland Stadium, and now they're getting to do that. And it's their first home game. It's going to be packed. There's going to be over 100,000 fans there. We played there when I was at Southern Miss, and it's the best SEC environment. I'm not just saying that. I mean, it is. I've coached at Auburn. I've coached at Alabama. I've coached at Ole Miss. Had opportunities to coach against some big time schools and environments, and Tennessee by far takes the cake of the best SEC environment. We were playing them in a year they were what they would consider a down year. I forgot what year that was. It might have been 2017. It was just a kind of a down year for them. They still made a bowl game, I think, and stuff. But just considering for their standards, and there were still like 100,000 people there. I mean, there was no wavering. I mean, it was. So I know they're gonna. This is gonna be a great environment, a great opportunity for our kids. But at the end of the day, we're gonna go compete, and we're gonna roll the ball out there, play our brand of football, and go cut it loose, have fun, and we'll see what that scoreboard says.
Yeah, I mean, who could forget what happened with, Appalachian State and Michigan? And, you see where that program's at now, it can kickstart a program, so you never know. But we got about 2 minutes left here. I want to know about, that Alabama game last year, kind of going back to that first, what it was like to coach against Nick Saban, the greatest coach to ever do it in college football. And if you guys had, like a chat after the game in midfield, if he said anything to you.
Man, it was an honor. I mean, he's the greatest to ever do it, and it was an honor to shake his hand and get to speak with him. He's a man of few words. We didn't really just, to be honest with you, speak a ton. But he did say, you guys done a great job over there. You got a great team, and they play hard. And so for him just to say those things, and I think in his press conference, he gave us a lot of credit just for being a balanced attack, and I thought that was awesome. And just getting to shake his hand and go against him was unbelievable. First time I've ever been shut out in my career, and I guess who better to get shut out by than Nick Saban and Pete Golding, who's also a great defensive mind. So
it was bound to happen eventually, right? Might as well get the first one out of the way against the GOAT of college football. But Scotty, man, thank you so much for coming on today. Really an honor. Unfortunately, we're capped at 30 minutes here. I know you and I could probably go for hours, but
for sure.
It happens. But once again, man, really, really glad that we were able to get you on and talk a little P.
Yeah, Brady, thanks so much for having me on. Thanks for what you're doing for Clarksville and all the sports, man. It means the world, all the coverage for us and for the high school players, all the kids. Thanks for what you do, brother, and we'll see you this season, man.
Of course, man. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it. And that's going to do it for the show today. Another thanks to Scotty Wald for coming on and helping fill all 30 minutes today. It's exactly what I plan on doing because, like I said, he and I can talk for hours. So and thank you for tuning in, as always, and we'll talk to you next week.